Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can be alerted when new content is released. Enjoy the video.
Thoughts, to me, produce an electrical charge in the quantum field, and feelings produce a magnetic charge in the quantum field.
Thoughts produce a what?
An electrical charge.
Okay.
And feelings produce a magnetic charge. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signature that influences every single atom in your life. The thought sends the signal out. Now think about this. And the feeling draws the event back. So you could have the intent that you want wealth, you want health, you want success. That's your intent, that's your thought. But if you're waiting for the experience to happen to feel it, then you're not drawing the experience to you because you're not feeling the emotion, right? So then teaching people once again how to balance their thoughts and feelings, because you can enter that cycle either place. Sometimes we do a meditation, we start opening our heart, we start elevating the body's energy, and then those emotions can drive certain thoughts of your future. Other times, you open your awareness, you create brain coherence, you have the vision of your future, you begin to emotionally experience it. However you want to jump on that cycle, and then sustain it, because the longer you're conscious of that energy, the more you're drawing your future to you. So then, most people spend their lives, right? We live in this realm called space-time, three-dimensional reality, and you move your body through space. In three-dimensional reality, it takes time.
Yeah.
So everything, all your goals, all your dreams, all your visions, you're going to have to get your body up and drag it through space every day to pay off that, that home that's in your future, right?
Right.
When you create from the field instead of from matter, when there's a vibrational match between your energy and some potential, and your thoughts and feelings are coherent, now you are going to begin to collapse time and space, or the experience is going to be drawn to you. Now you're the vortex to your destiny, and now you don't have to go anywhere to get it, because you're not playing by the rules of three-dimensional reality. You're playing by the rules of energy and the quantum. So teaching people how to do this and getting better at it, then all of a sudden they're not forcing and controlling outcomes. In fact, they're trusting and surrendering to outcomes, because they don't want to get in the way. Because the moment you start trying to predict when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, you're overlaying a known over a place where there should be an unknown, right? So teaching people how to do that means we have to lay down the very thing we used our whole life to get what we want for something greater to occur, right? And so that transcendental moment is something that we're working on demystifying. And you could be a gluten-free person, you could be a gluten-full person. You could drink wine, not drink wine. You could be rich, you could be poor, you could be any color, any shape, any size. In fact, you can't tell me you're too old to do this work. You can't tell me that. We got elders in this work that we show you their brain scans and you'd be blown away. They know how to do it. You can't tell me you're too sick to do this work. We got people that have reversed stage 4 cancer numerous times. And yeah, it took a Herculean effort to do it, but they love themselves for it. You can't tell me that you're too out of shape or too overweight or too underweight. You can't. I've seen it in all shapes and sizes. You can't even tell me that you had a brutal past. And people that have had very, very dismal pasts that are free, that are happy people. You can't even tell me you never meditated before. In fact, our research shows that many people have never meditated before have the most profound experiences, because they're not trying to make anything happen. Yeah. They're just following the instructions, right? And they don't have a habit of doing it. So we don't want to exclude anybody in the process. We want to include everybody. So it turns out that our events tend to draw a good portion of men because of the science. We have a lot of children now that are, teenagers that are coming, and people in their 20s. We have a great community of elders. We have, in our events, sometimes 63 different cultures coming to countries coming to our events, between 50 and 65. So we want to make it so inclusive that community becomes the side effect, because with a community of like-minded, similar energy of people, everybody understands, they get one another. Communities tends to be the thing now that, in terms of our social media and the feedback we're getting everybody wants more community because you get 1,000 people in an audience and their energy's synchronized. Now you're taking us something so much bigger. We're just going to measure this. I just talked to a researcher yesterday. We're going to measure 1,000 people when they reach that synchronized moment when we know that the entire social coherence in the room is orderly. Then if you're producing a ambient, coherent magnetic field in your heart and you're tuning into a thought or an intent, and you got 1,000 people doing that, and your energy is going to start interfering and commingling with the person who's next to you. When that energy starts to synchronize, it's going to produce a bigger wave. The higher the amplitude, the higher the wave, the more energy there is. So now you have one mind and one heart. And now when it comes to healing others, and we've done the research on this now, and we're collecting the data, that we're teaching people how to administer a change in energy in the person that's laying there. Because it's not matter that emits a field. That's the wrong way to think about it. It's the field that creates matter. You change the field, you change matter. It's not your job to change the tumor. The tumor is the illusion. It's the pattern in the field that has to be changed. So once people start reversing this, then you start seeing the tumors disappearing. You start seeing blind people seeing, deaf people hearing. You start seeing people with Parkinson's disease switch on. I mean, you start seeing stage 4 cancer is reversing because now you're swimming upstream. You're going to the headwaters and making that change. So pushing the envelope and then seeing that in a community, when a community is synchronized towards the second half of a week-long event, I mean, as I said before we started the show, I'm more surprised than anybody when we witness some of these things. It's crazy.
What is we talked about, I heard you say consciousness a couple of times. What's the difference between mindset and consciousness?
To me, consciousness is awareness. Awareness is paying attention and noticing. And so 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a set of unconscious automatic programs that we've just practiced so many times that we're not consciously thinking about those. So in order for you to change, to answer the initial question that you asked, the first step is you got to become conscious of your unconscious thoughts. And you got to start looking at those hardwired thoughts that you think every day that are just circuits that have been fired and wired together.
How do we do that? Should we write a list at the end of the day, or what are the most common thoughts we had that day? Like, how does someone become aware of
You don't have
thoughts?
to do that. You just have to sit down, close your eyes, and not move. And then you'll start seeing.
What am I thinking about right now?
Yeah, and all you want to do is observe the thought, because when you begin to observe that thought, you're no longer the program now. You're the consciousness observing the program, and you're starting to pull out of the program.
Thinking about the thinking.
Yeah, who's doing the thinking of the thinking about the thinking? That's who you are when you're not the program. That's awareness, right?
Yeah.
You got to become aware of how you speak, how you act, become so conscious, so aware of it that you won't go unconscious and let that thought or that behavior run you. You got to say, oh my God, this feeling that I've been living by for the last 20 years is actually guilt. I didn't know it was guilt because it just feels like me. And all of a sudden, as you start becoming conscious of it, you're beginning to objectify your subjective self. You're pulling out of those programs, and nobody likes to do that because it's uncomfortable. They'd rather turn on their cell phone, start texting, get on the internet, watch TV to distract them from that moment. And that is what they have to move through in order to get to their own personal freedom. So the first step is becoming conscious. And meditation means to become familiar with, to become conscious of, to become so conscious of your unconscious self that you won't go unconscious to any thought, any behavior or emotion. And get ready, because it takes a tremendous amount of energy to do that, and awareness to stay conscious. And so we fall from grace.
Yeah.
Fine, you're awake, you got another day, let's go again.
How often do you fall?
Oh my gosh, I mean, how many times have I done it? Thousands, but I'm not going to give up, because the moments in which I do connect, or the moments that I do have that transcendental experience, what matters the most after it, when I have that transcendental moment, I look back at all of those difficult meditations, those difficult days. And those are the ones you remember. You don't remember the good meditations. You remember the ones where you came up against yourself and you went a little further. And you said, I'm going to go a little further, I'm going to go a little further. Or you had a rough day and you just went in and you at the end of the day you surrender and you have the classic oh my God moment. There's no linear correlation. It's just whether you're willing to live in creation instead of living in survival. And so you get better at it. We just get better at it. And for me, staying conscious and staying aware and staying present is an art, because you know when someone's present with you in your life because they're paying attention to you. You know when they're not present with you because they're not paying attention to you. So imagine this field of information, this intelligence that lives within you and I that's governing everything material in this world. It's a self-organizing intelligence. You have access to it, so you better get present with it as well as you can get present with anything else. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right.
That realm you can't experience with your senses. You can only experience with your awareness.